He's a felon. People pulling their hair out, smashing things. I saw a girl break a TV in her own house, and her mom said, "Break it, I'll buy another one," because they were so upset about the election results. I'm sitting here working on this rifle, beautiful Radian weapon. I just put a butt stock on it from Magpul, a badass Atlas bipod. This is the gun that we shot the 77 grain Super Bell out to a half a mile with. Now with a couple little upgrades with the sweet Steiner, we're going to stretch her out more. But I'm sitting here working on this and I'm listening to this stuff and I'm like, dang, people have lost their freaking mind. And I know it's upsetting. Things don't go the way you want them to. There's a lesson there, right? And we'll talk about that a little bit. But I'm listening to this, all of these folks saying, he's a felon, he's this, he's that. Now make no mistake, I think no man is above our law. The Constitution is the law. Men are not laws. Our agreed upon codified Constitution is the law of the land. And if we do not have faith in that and we do not uphold it, we have nothing. So I give that caveat. That said, we are a nation that was crafted from the frontier by cutthroats, by men who whispered in dark alleys and used subversion and guile and treachery and thievery and lying to beat the largest army and navy to ever grace this planet at the time, Great Britain. There was a special kind of punishment for their crime of high treason. When those dudes sat down, check this out, 56 dudes sat down and they signed that Declaration of Independence. 56 men. Think about this, and I'm gonna make this point very clear. 56 men sat down and they signed the Declaration. They swore on their sacred honor, was what they said, a blood oath that they were going to see this thing through. At the time, I took some notes. I even pulled out a highlighter for this one. At the time, there was a special kind of punishment for the crime of high treason, and it was called being drawn and quartered. If you remember the movie Braveheart, William Wallace, at the end of that movie, in real life it happened to him, was drawn and quartered. And there was a very specific reason that the crown used this horrific, mutilating, humiliating act of killing for somebody that committed high treason. I'm going to read you the actual text from the English law that was on the books in Great Britain until 1870, outlining the death sentence for someone convicted of high treason. Check this out. That you will be drawn on a hurdle to the place of execution, where you shall be hanged by the neck, and being alive, cut down. Your privy members shall be cut off, and your bowels taken out and burned before you. Whoa. Your head severed from your body divided into 4 quarters to be disposed of at the king's pleasure. Holy crap. The first part, drawn on a hurdle. Basically, it was a sled. So after your sentence was laid out, you would have been at the prison, Newgate Prison in London. It was a 3-mile drag, basically. They drug you 3 miles to Tyburn, which is a remote locale outside the city whose name became linked with public execution. So they drag you out to Tyburn. This was for centuries. This isn't some little short thing. Like 1300 to 1870, this was on the books. They drag you, and all along the way, it was meant for the public to see you. People throw garbage, they'd throw rocks, they'd throw food, and they would make fun of and jeer, and then they'd follow because they wanted to see this horrific spectacle that was about to take place. Once they got there, it was about 3 hours long. The streets packed with riotous crowds, is what was said here. You were hanged. But it wasn't so simple, because as soon as the hangman saw that you were about to die, the hangman would lower you down, maybe dump a little water on you, slap you around, and revive you, and then hang you some more. And once they had their fill and knew that they were dancing with your life at death's door, they'd strip you naked, if you were not already. And because this was only done to men, the part that read "your privy removed," they would cut the penis and testicles off of this felon and toss them into a blazing bonfire. So imagine this. You're beaten. You know you're going to die. You've been getting hanged for a while. Your throat hurts. You're probably in and out of consciousness. And now your dick has just been chopped off, and your testicles. And you're looking down at your newly remodeled body, and you see your dick and balls burning up in a fire. If the sheer fright of that didn't kill you and you were still alive, you were then opened from pubic bone to sternum, and your entrails, your intestines, were pulled out. And it's very easy to be alive with your intestines out. If they were careful about it, they could pull the convict's intestines out and toss those in the fire. So you would be alive long enough to smell your own burning, cooking intestines. Pretty heavy. If you lived a little bit longer, your head would be chopped off with an axe. Then the 4 parts of your body would be your legs and arms tied to 4 horses that would pull you into 4 separate sections, hence quartered. And the king would have these parts displayed around the kingdom where people would be able to see this is what happens to those who defy the crown. Pretty scary. It's marketing. It's a message. And the 56 dudes who hung out in pubs, who lurked about, fully understood that the day, August 2nd actually is the day it happened, August 2nd, 1776, that they put pen to paper. I've been in that room. That room moves you. I've been in that room numerous times in Philly where they sign that document. Ooh, it stirs your guts. I've seen that inkwell that they dip that pen in, and they freaking knew if this goes south, the king might put me on a boat, take me to London, and start by hanging me and then chop my dick and balls off and then pull my guts out. And if I'm alive long enough, I might smell my own intestines. Where do I sign? That's the men that made this place. Those are the people that hewed this out of the frontier. You can tell me that, oh, we stole it from the indigenous people. Yeah, that sucks. I'm not happy about that. But a little cursory look at the history of the Americas, and you will see, and this will piss a bunch of people off, that those people enslaved people, that those people killed each other, that those people did all kinds of their own thing. This is the story of mankind on every continent that man has lived on. We have sought, as individual classes of people, as individual societies, to improve our lot in life, to roll the dice and say, what the hell can I do with my time here? And 56 dudes said, you know what? We're going to roll the fucking dice hard. Now we lose our mind when an election doesn't go our way. Both sides. It's stolen. Or how could they do this to me? Here's something I know. Action begets more action. There is never something for nothing. And if you don't like the game, change the rules. If you don't understand the game, learn the rules. I don't know everything about politics, but I know more than many because I spent years involved in it. It's a conspiracy of sorts, just like McDonald's conspires to sell burgers all over the globe and sell more of them than anybody. Just like Michelob Ultra wants to be that's a gross beer, by the way, the best-selling low-calorie beer. Disgusting. Got a delicious local beer here that I'm going to treat myself to when I'm done talking with you, by the way. If you don't like things, change it. Yeah, he might be a felon, and if so, there is always a penance to pay in this side or the other. You can read between the lines on that one. I like the way the election went, but if I had my druthers, I would have probably picked one of the other candidates. 56 dudes conspired to defy, with treason, the biggest and best Navy and Army on the planet. 56 dudes conspired to defy the crown. What can you do? What can you do in your community? What can you do in your home? What can you do at your business, your church, the club you're a member of? What can you do? What can you and your buddies or your girlfriends do? Excuses are useless. Action gets it done. Read the story of Henry Knox crossing the Berkshire Mountains in the wintertime to steal thousands of pounds of cannons from Fort Ticonderoga and bringing them back across the roadless mountains in the dead of winter. Men like Henry Knox made this happen. Read the story of John Glover, a fisherman who, without him, the Delaware crossing would have never happened. The escape from Long Island wouldn't have happened. Do you even know these men's names? Most of us don't, because they're forgotten in history. A bookseller and a fisherman, changing the course of events, not just of the colonies, not just of America, but of the planet for mankind. A fisherman and a bookseller. What say you about your capabilities, your capacity? Are you better than them? In many ways, of course you are. You have the whole world at your fingertips of knowledge. They had a little bit. They had a little bit. The part that maybe they had a little bit more of than some of us that I think we can rekindle is the desire to risk it all. And I don't mean committing crimes. I don't mean committing evil. What are we willing to do to preserve the Republic? People will disagree. That's going to happen. The founders disagreed. The Federalists and the Anti-Federalists disagreed so much that the Federalists said we need a constitution. The Anti-Federalists said no constitution. Nope, we do not want it. I mean, that's a pretty big deal if you think about the founders. A bunch of them said constitution, a bunch said no. These people fought. They dueled. They dueled for F's sakes. They killed each other in duels. Don't look back at history as if it was some kind, wonderful thing. All across the world, anywhere that man has sought to better themselves, there are winners and there are losers. And it's not always clean and tidy, but we can do better because we have more information at our disposal. The synopsis here, how grateful I am and how grateful we should all be that men such as this existed, that they signed a document knowing that if caught, the punishment was having their penis and testicles burned before their very eyes, and if that didn't make them pass out, they could smell their own intestines cooking like bacon. Yet they did it. Now we act like we've moved a mountain because we went to vote. Oh God, I did my civic duty. We can do better. The president, Congress, they do our bidding. You might send me the links to all of the conspiracy theories that you feed your brain on, and some of them are very real. But anything is possible. Those 56 believed it, and I do, and I hope you do. And I think that there is hope, and I think that if we start to think about the world that we want our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren to adopt, whatever those things are, we need to inject those things into the world. Be well. Don't be dickheads. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for the men that came before us and women, of course. When I say men, we're talking about mankind. By the way, that public execution of being drawn and quartered was only reserved for men because at the time, for that half a millennia that took place, they said it was too barbaric to do to a woman's body. So the woman would just be beheaded and burned at the stake. So, ladies, I guess maybe that's good. Head chopped off, body torched. Be well. Don't be dickheads. Remember those who have come before us. Remember those who have sacrificed so much, so much. Booksellers, fishermen, plantation owners. Amazing men, 100%. Perfect men, haven't met one yet. Be well. Don't be dickheads. Tell somebody you love them. Long live the Republic.